Hello and welcome to a new fanfiction reading, and this time it's Treadmill by SeikoLover. So, I've had a little bit of trouble with some of the fanfictions I've been thinking about reading. So, there was I talked about one in the White Rose Fluff fanfiction reading at the end, which I ended up just deleting and not even trying to read because I was just like, the grammar seems terrible and I just don't really want to read this story. I mean, it seemed kind of good, but I don't want to really read it. And then there was another one which I did try reading and I was just like, this is not okay. I really don't like this and how terrible the grammar is as well. Which, again, both of these were not finished. And then there was another story which I didn't try to read as well and wasn't even next on my list of things to read. And I don't even know where it was, but it was like the second part and led up to a story that I was going to read before it. And the first part I hadn't even, it was the second, so the first story, which was the first story that I wasn't going to read, was like a part of the future from the actual RWBY story. Now, which is part 3, I think, of a series of stories that this person made. And the second one was this other one that I saw in my reading list. I was just like, why? And where's the first one? And I don't even know. So, this is Treadmill, one shot. Just get it done quickly and move along. We need to get through one of these, just get back into it, even though I recorded White Rose Fluff today as well. Just actually get somewhere, because we just deleted 3 fanfictions from the reading list and failed to record one of them. It's just disappointing. Okay, Beacon's Fastest Treadmill. Today was a day off, of course. Team RWBY was spending the day doing nothing particularly exciting. Well, Blake seemed to be enjoying her book, but that just wouldn't do. I have an idea, RWBY cheerfully exclaimed. Well, if it's anything like your last idea, I'm leaving, Weiss scoffed. Look, I thought I could design a sweet shooting machine, okay? It's harder than it looks, RWBY pouted. So what's his idea, Rubes? Yang asked, her book... Wow. She looked over at Yang, who still... What? She looked over at Blake, who still had her nose buried in her book. Well, I heard Beacon got a faster treadmill and stuff, so RWBY smiled goofily. I thought I should try to outrun it. With a large groan and a facepalm, Weiss told RWBY that she was only going to get hurt, to which RWBY responded with another pout. Weiss, maybe RWBY is right. When we're done using it, we could give feedback on how to make it better, Yang said. With a small sigh, Blake put down her book. I'm okay with it as long as we bring it here and Yang carries it. We don't want to cause a scene in the workout room. You're siding with them? This is a horrible idea, Weiss shouted. Blake nudged her and whispered, we can record it, you know. Weiss looked back at her with a small smirk on her face. Quickly changing her expression, she looked back at Yang. Fine, go get it, Yang smiled. She's about to leave the room when RWBY leapt on her back. Piggyback ride? Piggyback ride? Piggyback ride. With that, the sisters were on their way. Heading down the hall, they got to the cafeteria, and from there they went to the new and improved gym area. Is there anything I can do to help you ladies? Professor Port asked creepily. That's not weird. Yang glared at him, but RWBY asked if they could borrow their fastest treadmill. Are you sure? He asked. Nodding, Yang dropped RWBY on the floor, much to her disappointment. RWBY quickly warned everyone in the halls to look out for her sister hauling a large treadmill. With the path cleared, Yang made her way to the dorm room and eventually entered after hitting the door once or twice. Watch where you put that thing, Weiss screamed, just barely dodging the treadmill. Sorry. Okay, where do you want it? Guess in the middle of the room is fine. With that, Yang carefully placed the treadmill in between the beds in front of the door. Getting out her scroll. Wow. Blake prepared to record. RWBY happily hopped on the treadmill She excitedly pressed the speed to go to 1. Treadmill had almost no speed whatsoever. It was much slower than even a normal walking pace. Yang Hurley stood behind the treadmill. She knew her sister's sporadic behavior. But surely Ruby was faster, right? Weiss and Blake got on their beds and Blake pressed record. Ruby looked stumped on what to do next, but speedily shouted, "All or nothing!" Pressing the max speed button, Ruby let out a scream. It was going unbelievably fast, so fast that Ruby immediately used her semblance, but was getting closer and closer to the edge. "Why, shut it off!" Yang yelled. Rose petals were flying everywhere. Weiss stood up, but it was too late. Ruby flew off the treadmill straight into Yang in such a force that Yang went through the door and left a large indentation in the hallway wall. Team Juniper popped their heads out the door to see what had created the massive sound and gasped. Ruby was smothered against the wall with Ruby laying on her. Blake and Weiss' loud laughter echoed through the halls. "Ow, my head," Ruby groaned as she pushed off the mass underneath her. "Wait, Yang, are you okay?" she wailed. Yang slowly opened her eyes and gave Ruby a reassuring smile. "I guess you could say our plan crumbled." Indeed, their plan did crumble as another piece of the wall hit Yang in the head. While they shakily got off the ground, Team Juniper was still staring at them wide-eyed. "I think we're just going to back away slowly," Jean said. They all ducked their heads back into their room. Even more laughter could be heard from Team Ruby's dorm room. "What is the meaning of this?" Glenna stormed up to Ruby and Yang, but Ozpin followed her. Laughter suddenly stopped. You see," Ruby kept mumbling as Yang stealthily tried to cover up the now sad excuse for a door. "Miss Xiaolong, what are you doing?" Glinda said. "Oh, I was just walking. I just need a bit of a stretch, that's all," she lied. "Please move out of the way." Yang pointed herself. "Me?" "Yes, you. May I ask why?" Glinda looked like she was about to explode with rage, but Ozpin rested his hand on her shoulder. "Let it go, Glinda. Also, please fix the door and wall." Yang stood aside and Glinda telekinetically put the door and wall back together, then stomped away. "Please be more careful, Miss Rose. Beacon's equipment is not to be played with," he stated calmly. He then left to go catch up to Glinda. Then the laughter resumed. Ruby and Yang entered the room to find Weiss and Blake practically rolling on the floor, dying. Yang snatched Blake's scroll from her and motioned to Ruby to come look. They looked intently at the video they were watching. They couldn't help but laugh too. It depicted Ruby crashing into Yang so perfectly almost anyone would have burst into a laughing fit. "See, it was a good idea," Ruby said to Weiss. Okay, it was pretty good, but we were lucky we didn't get detention or something," she said angrily. "Calm down there, Ice Queen," Yang smirked. Blake let out a contented sigh. Certainly Team Juniper Coffee and Sun would enjoy this. So that's the oh my god, that is the one shot of Treadmill by SeikoLover. So that's about it. I can only assume I'm pronouncing that right. Anyways, next time we have something I haven't read before. That'll be interesting. Hopefully.